The title of world's fastest car is a difficult superlative to determine. First of all, some cars are only available to race car drivers and specialized collectors. The scope of this video will cover cars that are commercially available to the average consumer, given that you have a pile of money to invest in a sports car. These vehicles must be street legal and cannot simply be souped-up cars designed by hobbyists. From Italian sports cars to Swedish luxury vehicles, we are counting down the fastest cars in the world. Known as one of the most iconic Italian wedge cars, the Lamborghini Countach was first conceptualized in 1970. The infamous Italian design house Bertone was behind the sleek, futuristic shape and remarkable performance. The Countach made its public debut at the 1971 Geneva Motor Show. The design of the ultra-low two-seater sports car took the world by surprise. Its most captivating parts were, of course, the scissor doors, swinging up and forward. Over the years, these famous doors have become Lamborghini's trademark, right up to the latest Murcielago. But in 1982, Lamborghini opted for a full redesign. The first new Countach was the LP500S. Ferrari had unveiled their Boxer, which was faster than the Countach LP400S, so Lamborghini had to do something. They tried a turbocharged version of the 4.0-liter engine, but because of cooling problems, this project was abandoned at an early stage. Another option was tried out, but in the end, the best thing to do was to increase the displacement up to 4,754 cc by enlarging both the bore and stroke. The resulting LP500S had a top speed of 182 miles per hour, making it one of the fastest cars in the world. Only 321 were produced, and the cars are still highly collectible. Ruf Automobiles made its name by using unmarked Porsche chassis and filling them with their own motors and hardware. The Ruf BTR represented the German manufacturer taking a stab at the Porsche 911. Many Ruf BTRs were given the roof treatment to the outside, which was a body kit which had been in development over Ruf's previous Porsche models, along with the appearance of the famous single-piece forged alloy wheels. The bodywork involved deeper bumpers front and rear, and thicker set side skirts. The car was available in either turbo body, with the flared wheel arches of the 930, or narrow body, with the standard 911 wings. The car boasted a turbocharged flat six built from the Porsche 911 Turbo's engine block. The 3-liter version produced a stout 325 horsepower, while the slightly larger 3.4-liter unit that emerged in the later years pumped out an impressive 369 horsepower. The BTR maxed out at 190 miles per hour, even faster than the Porsche it was modeled after. Though BTR is well known among car enthusiasts, it represents a very specific niche in the auto world. Factory records were lost, but Ruf estimates that it only made between 20 to 30 of these models. Manufactured by German luxury car brand Porsche from 1986 to 1993, the 959 was a complete game-changer when it was released. Upon unveiling the vehicle, it was probably the most technologically advanced car in the world. It had not one but two turbochargers. It made 450 horsepower from just a 2.85-liter engine. It did 0 to 60 miles per hour in 3.6 seconds and topped out at 198 miles per hour. Still impressive figures today. It had computer-controlled variable all-wheel drive. It had driver-adjustable ride height and suspension settings, along with a number of electronic systems which were advanced for the time. Consumers are quite used to these kinds of systems today, but this was radical 30 years ago. Each one of these technologies would have been a big deal at the time. Porsche, then still a relatively small car company, bundled them all together at once. Like most every Porsche ever created, the exterior design of the 959 looks a lot like the 911. It has the same roofline, thick hips, and sloping nose that Porsche fans know and love, but the 959 is bigger and meaner in most every way. The nose is essentially a cheese grater, with its collection of holes, vents, and grills. The body is several inches wider to make room for the wider track of the all-wheel drive system, and that tail is longer to make room for new cooling equipment and that big integrated spoiler. We've already explored the Ruf model on this countdown. The BTR design was the first car to put them on the map internationally, but the CTR is undoubtedly one of their most classic automobiles. With an integrated roll cage, this was a car that was meant to push the limits of casual motoring to their most extreme. The car maxed out at 213 miles per hour, making it by far one of the fastest commercially available cars at the time. Nicknamed the Yellow Bird for its canary yellow finish, the CTR is a force to be reckoned with. Introduced for the 1987 model year and based on the Porsche 911, the CTR featured an enlarged and highly tuned version of Porsche's 3.2-liter flat six-cylinder engine. engine, lightened body panels, upgraded suspension and braking systems, a custom-designed transmission, and several unique trim pieces, such as polyurethane bumpers, and the use of the side-mounted oil filter necessitated by relocating the oil tank forward to clear the intercooler on that side. Alcantara is the upholstery of choice both for its aesthetics and weight-saving properties, that in combination with leather and carbon fiber give the cockpit a balance between modern and retro design. The seats are made of carbon fiber, and the pedals from aluminum. A 3-spoke steering wheel is a further nod to the car's racing pedigree, as are the analog dial type gauges and a green typeface. The first British build on our countdown, the McLaren F1 is a truly unique vehicle. With only 106 produced between 1992 and 1998, it's still a major collector's item. On March 31, 1998, it set the record for the fastest production car in the world at 221 miles per hour. As of April 2009, the McLaren F1 is succeeded by 3 faster cars in sheer top speed, but is still the fastest naturally aspirated production car. The idea was born in the late 1980s, when Gordon Murray, the technical director of McLaren's Formula One, began sketching the F1 as a 3-seat supercar. Appointed as head of McLaren cars in 1991, Murray convinced Ron Dennis to build the vehicle and played a key role in the design of the F1. It was unlike any other supercar launched up to that point. It had a race-inspired design, a 3-seat configuration with the driver's seat in the middle, and a comfortable ride for a vehicle of its kind. It was also the first production car to use a carbon fiber monocoque chassis, and the first to bring high-tech and expensive materials such as titanium, magnesium, Kevlar, and gold under the same roof. The South African designer saw this vision through to completion, and the McLaren F1 is still debatably the most classic car that McLaren has ever produced. The McLaren F1 was the fastest car for many years until it was surpassed by the Koenigsegg CCR in 2004. The Koenigsegg CCR was an evolution of the CC8S, produced between 2004 and 2006. 14 examples were built. The CCR featured an upgraded body design with a larger front splitter, a rear wing, larger brakes, larger wheels and tires, plus an upgraded chassis and suspension setup. The CCR also had a more powerful twin-supercharged engine, producing an astonishing 806 horsepower. Power aside, the CCR is distinguished outwardly by its boldly shaped side air apertures and front splitter. Also included are larger brakes, new racing shock absorbers, a monocoque carbon fiber intake plenum, the CCR advanced throttle, and the larger 19-inch front wheels. These modifications all contribute to place the CCR at the very top among supercars. On February 28, 2005 at 12:08 local time, the Koenigsegg CCR broke the production road car speed record, achieving a new official top speed of 242 miles per hour at Italy's Nardo Prototipo Proving Ground. The record run was celebrated at the 2005 Geneva Motor Show, where both the record car and a silver counterpart were on display. The CCR still has performance that can match or beat many of the latest hypercars. It truly was a car before its time. Though Koenigsegg finally broke the land speed record after almost 10 years, Bugatti stole the title from them mere months later. The super sport version of the Veyron is recognized by Guinness World Records as the fastest street-legal production car in the world, with a top speed of 267 miles per hour. The Veyron Grand Sport Vitesse was the fastest roadster in the world, reaching an average top speed of 254.04 miles per hour in a test on April 6, 2013. Since its launch in 2005, the Bugatti Veyron has been regarded as a supercar of superlative quality. It was a real challenge for developers to fulfill the specifications that the new supercar was supposed to meet: over 1,000 horsepower, a top speed of over 400 kilometers per hour, and the ability to accelerate from 0 to 100 in under 3 seconds. Even experts thought it was impossible to achieve these performance specs on the road. Because of its singular status, these cars go for a minimum of $1.8 million today. However, the manufacturer is no longer producing them, meaning that these cars regularly sell for between $3 and $5 million on the secondary market. The SSC Ultimate Aero TT is not designed for your average amateur motorist. The vehicle was not sold with electronic driver aids such as anti-lock brakes or traction control, as according to designer Jared Shelby, early design philosophy on the car was to make it a driver's car. I wanted a car that you not only throttle with your right foot, but at times you could steer with your right foot and a sensor. The ultra-high-performance Ultimate Aero Twin Turbo set the new world's fastest production car record in 2007 with an average top speed of 256 miles per hour. The record-breaking production car wasn't the first incarnation of the Ultimate Aero to rock up on the scene. 3 years earlier in 2004, SSC, an acronym of Shelby Supercars, had finally established their prototype supercar, which they called the Ultimate Aero. The car's name, while sounding fairly ridiculous, does give some information about certain elements of the car. The aero part of the name, for instance, was in reference to how the car was designed to be as aerodynamic as possible. And when the record-breaking TT version came along in 2007, the TT indicated the use of twin turbos. In the early prototypes before they turbocharged the car, they had used a single supercharger instead. That's right, there are 2 Bugatti Veyrons in the top 5 fastest cars in the world. Though its top speed at 258 miles per hour is only 5 miles per hour faster than the previous model, it was enough to knock the SSC Ultimate Aero out of the top spot. No vehicle of the 21st century has created such a stir as the Bugatti Veyron, because no vehicle in the 21st century has produced performance figures like the Bugatti Veyron. Like the Ferrari Testarossa and Lamborghini Countach, this car would become a fixture on many a child's bedroom wall, inspiring future generations of automotive enthusiasts and speed freaks. Nearly 6 years would pass as the Veyron went from concept to production, and there must have been tears in the eyes of those who worked on the car when the production version finally appeared at the Tokyo Motor Show in October 2005, where they had achieved what many thought to be impossible. With the 2010 upgrade, Bugatti packed the engine with even more power and allowed customers to customize their vehicles until the model was discontinued in 2015. Rest assured that the Veyron will remain one of the world's most collectible cars for decades to come. Another impressive showing from the Swedish manufacturer. Their 2017 Agera RS is officially the fastest commercially available car in the world. The car maxes out at a mind-boggling 277 miles per hour, obliterating their nearest competition. The engine, as with the previous Agera S, has been optimized for regular pumped gas, and now puts out an incredible 1160 brake horsepower on regular unleaded gas. That's an astonishing 232 brake horsepower per liter, with perfect reliability. In early development, the car was filled with a 4.7-liter V8 engine with fixed-vane twin turbochargers, but the engine was replaced with a 5.0-liter twin turbocharged V8 for the production version of the car. But it's not all about the gold flake and horsepower when it comes to the Agera RS. This thing is prepped to be fully compliant with US road regulations, which means you can drive this 1360 horsepower beast from coast to coast if you really wanted to. There are plenty of cabin comforts and driving aids, and the roof can even be stored under the front hood. It's a beautiful and well-appointed special edition, so it will live on in infamy forever.